إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه وخليله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين. أما بعد، يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, all praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He is worthy of being praised and worshipped. We thank Him for the blessings that we are aware of and the blessings that we are unaware of. And if we were to count the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we would not be able to count them sufficiently, for they are infinite. I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam is His last, final, and most elect of His messengers. We seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's guidance in all of our affairs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, O you who have attained faith, be God conscious, be reverent, have awe with regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a manner which is due to Allah, and die not but in a state of submission, die not but in a state of surrender, die not but in a state of loving surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that which He has obligated upon us, and staying away from the matters which He has prohibited and told us to stay away from. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this blessed Yom of Jum'ah to please unite the Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, to lift any of the calamities that are befallen the Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, whether here or abroad, whether it's illness, whether it's financial constraints, whether it's the ties of kinship, whatever it may be, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is the one who is most knowledgeable of those burdens, that He lifts them and alleviates them and unites the hearts and brightens the hearts on all days, and especially on this blessed day of Jumu'ah. Before we get started, I wanted to call our attention to a few du'as that we want to keep in mind. We have the mother of our secretary, Nadia, is having a heart surgery soon. Please make du'a for her. We have Brother Ansar, who was in a serious car accident in Canada, and he is in the intensive care unit, and du'a is requested. As well as Brother Jamil's sister is sick and admitted into the hospital. Please make dua for their recovery, all of their recoveries, the recoveries of those who we know and we don't know, and make dua for those who are still with us and no longer with us. And Allah is Ash-Shafi, and Shifa is easy in His hands, and we leave that matter to Him. In these brief moments, I wanted to pose a question, and I will return to this question, and that question is, what is intelligence? What is intelligence? Hold on to this question. We will come back to it. We're at an interesting crossroads temporally in the year. It is the end of the summer, and therefore after this week we will not have as many beautiful young faces in the masjid from the young brothers and sisters. Of course, everybody is beautiful and young in the audience, but I'm talking about the youngsters who are in grade school, middle school, high school, and even at the university level. And alhamdulillah, Jum'ah is available at most universities. But the reality is the number of fresh young faces in the audience will decrease after this Jum'ah. And that's an interesting part of the year. End of the summer, beginning of the school year. And we're also at a very interesting part of the temporal Hijri calendar year. The end of the Hijri calendar year, the end of Dhul Hijjah is upon us, and the beginning of the sacred month of Muharram is upon us. And with beginnings come questions. With the beginning of the academic year, I ask you and I, what are your goals? Don't lose sight of the initial question, what is intelligence? What are your goals? And certain things may come to mind. I want a certain GPA for this coming year. I want to get a 5 on the AP exams I take. I want to crack 14 or 1500 on the SATs. I want to get a scholarship, an academic scholarship, or a sports-related scholarship for the college of my choice. If you're a university student, maybe you want to network and add certain people to your degree, your umbrella of contacts that you have. Maybe you want to secure an internship. Maybe you want to juggle effectively your academic responsibilities with research responsibilities. You want some research experience. Whatever that may be, those are all good pursuits. But do you see what happened? Do you see what happened in everything I listed? We did it again. when the question of what are your goals was asked, our attention was diverted directly towards professional and academic goals. Why didn't we, this time and every time this question is asked, respond with, these are my spiritual goals for the next year. These are my spiritual goals for the next year. In the next year, I intend to memorize kada wa kada. I intend to be in the masjid for this many salawat a day. I intend to learn this. I intend to read this book. I intend to ascend in my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and only Allah decrees whether or not that will be a fruitful ascension or not. But I intend to give of my time for this meaningful relationship with my Creator. Why was our attention diverted from this answer when that question was asked? And it always happens. And so somebody in the audience may be like, well, that wasn't fair. You kind of set us up for a certain way to answer that question. You started listing academic pursuits, so you programmed us to think that way. No, I know exactly what I did. The reality is that's exactly where our minds jump, and I was just doing that mental exercise so that I can point out the flaw in that mental exercise that we typically do. And so let's recalibrate. Let's recalibrate. And I just want to preface all of this by saying there's absolutely nothing wrong with those academic and professional goals. We are taught, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً, but let's not forget the rest of the dua. Because those who only seek, oh Allah, give us goodness in this life, وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ, and there is nothing left for them in the life to come. This life is important, but it is only a means for the next life, and the completion of the dua is رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً. Yes, Allah, give us goodness in this life. Let us use our means and the gifts you've given us to achieve excellence in this life. وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً. Let it be a means for us to achieve excellence in the next life and protect us from وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ النَّارِ, the hellfire. And so we should strive for excellence, and everything we listed in those previous statements, whether academic or professional, should be things we strive for, but not at the expense of what is ultimately most important, and that is our spiritual quest with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I want to say that I'm not blaming anybody for thinking when I ask that question of what are your goals, that we only list professional or academic goals. We're programmed this way. Not by Allah, by society. For when we're in grade school and before grade school, we are asked these questions of what do you want to be when you grow up? And we're pressured into always having answers. And the reality is most people, they're just giving answers to give answers. You think the 5-year-old really wants to be a doctor? No, they're just saying they want to be a doctor because it sounds like a good answer. I know successful people who it seems like a reasonable answer, and they just... The reality is that's not truly in their heart. That's something that they're programmed to say. And then we continue to go up the academic ladder saying what we think we should be saying because of the pressure and tides of society. Such that it's even distasteful to say, not to Allah, wal-iyadu billah, but to society, it's distasteful to say, I want to dedicate my life to the deen. I want to be a da'i, a caller to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to be a firm believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the field of medicine. I want to be a caller of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in whatever field Allah puts me in. Or, and this is something that gets people scared, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, but Allah has put me on this planet for a reason, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to find what Allah wants me to do, and I'm going to do it when He shows me those signs, and as He shows me those signs. That's not an attractive answer to a lot of people. But you know what? I know someone who I consider to be very serious in their quest of knowledge. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah. I understand the sound is not perfect, but let's please try to focus on these words. I know somebody who I consider to be very serious in their quest of knowledge who gave this exact answer to a non-Muslim. They're colleagues in the same department. and they're talking about what their next step is after school. And the one student, he's a very good student, the Muslim student, he said to the other, I'm not really sure what I want to do. I know I have these options. I'm trying to find out what is the best way for me to serve God and His creation with the talents that God has given me. And the non-Muslim responded saying, wow, I never thought of it like that. I only think of what I'm going to do today and tomorrow. That's really inspirational. And indeed, if we turn our attention to the kingdom of heaven and what the King of all kings wants of us, then we will amaze ourselves in what we can do, because it's all coming from Him, and we will amaze the creation of our vision and dedication for what it is we're striving for. And so I come back to the question of, what is intelligence? Is it simply knowing facts and theories, or is it more? Our children and ourselves as students will return to school, and we will learn facts and theories and theorems and protocols in the lab, and rhetoric and logic and composition. But that's very different than morals. That's different than morals. Facts and knowledge is different than morals. And they are both part of intelligence, and there is more to intelligence than that. And so, is it intelligent that we dedicate hours to memorizing complex pathways, molecular pathways in our molecular biology class, and we do not dedicate even a little bit of time to the most perfect words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is it intelligent that we wake up at 5 in the morning to study for our exams that are later in the day, but we don't wake up at 5 in the morning every day for our fajr? Is that intelligent? Is it intelligent that I am upset that my child is not performing the way I think they should academically, and I am not as upset when they are not committed in their relationship with the divine? I'm not as upset about that. And is it intelligent when I am upset that I show them that emotion in rage or in anger, or that I try to understand why it is they're struggling? Which one is intelligence? Am I meeting that behavior that is undesirable with another behavior that is undesirable by me as a parent? Or am I meeting it from a point of empathy and trying to understand what's going on? Which one is intelligence? These are questions we need to ask ourselves. Is it intelligent that I prepare for this life but not the next life? And I want to give us one more story here. When I was in my academic training as a student, RPI, one of my academic advisors, I was talking to her about an assay that I needed to prepare in the lab. And she was recommending antibodies to use. And that conversation began to switch over to values and morals, one way or another. And at the end of the conversation, she looks at her lab and says, none of this matters. This is a highly established professor with big-time publications and funding from many government agencies. She looks at her lab, then looks back at me and says, Ahmed, none of this means anything. Your family, your children is what really matters. That's what matters. And so what is intelligence? That you dedicate your life to knowing a bit of knowledge that is amazing. It is amazing to have that knowledge. But we don't have and we don't cultivate the essential knowledge of a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم من كل ذنب فاستغفروه تجدوه غفورا رحيما. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. And so understand that when we go back to our academic pursuits, we will be gaining intellectual intelligence. And facts is different than morals, as we said. And facts without morals can lead us to a very dangerous end. For how many people do we know in our own lives, and perhaps we ourselves are that person, وَمَا أُبَرِئُ نَفْسِي, that the knowledge that we have gained has led us to arrogance, has led us to see that we are better than others, has led us to think that our opinions are more valuable or to belittle others. It takes a great degree of intelligence to know certain things, but then to do the right thing when you know those things is a different type of intelligence. No, we need to understand the emotions of one another. We need to understand a different type of intelligence, which is emotional intelligence. Why people are feeling certain ways. And we need to justify those emotions that they have. And we need to know how to resolve the emotions they have. Why are you afraid? Why are you anxious? Why are you not working hard? And we need to know how to caress those emotions and resolve those emotions that they may be having. And legitimize them. But emotional and intellectual intelligence can also not lead you to the best end if it's not strapped with moral intelligence. For someone who understands why you're afraid can alleviate your fears with a wrong remedy. The whole opioid crisis in this country is part because of some very intellectually and emotionally intelligent doctors. If you look at the job that the Sackler family has with regards to the opioid crisis in this country, they are geniuses in medicine. One of them is also a genius in business and management and marketing. And he found a way to convince doctors all over the country to talk about how important and necessary opioid prescriptions are. And now we have a crisis in this country that we can't deal with, because this country was afraid of using opioids after seeing what issues it had on the physiology of people. And they were reluctant to prescribe them unless absolutely necessary, and there is a medicinal benefit. But this family of doctors resolved those fears by winning over some people with some emotional manipulation, and now we have the crisis we have on our hands because of some people who are intellectually and emotionally intelligent with no sense of morals. And so that is the most important one of the equation, moral intelligence. What is right and wrong? What is your value system? And that value system of what is right and wrong cannot be defined by the human, because the human is flawed. That goes back to the Creator. We are in a very important time where people want to worship their own thoughts. This is what I feel like doing. This is what I think is right. This is what I think is wrong. And it's put us in this realm of moral relativism, where relatively speaking this is morally correct and relatively speaking this is morally incorrect, and it leads us to this point where no one is really right and no one is really wrong. Everyone is valid and everyone's equally valid, and we have to accept everything. Is that how Allah revealed us? Does it make sense that I can please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while doing something that pleases Him, and then also doing something that displeases Him? Can I earn His pleasure by worshiping Allah 5 times a day and by not worshiping Allah 5 times a day? By fasting the month of Ramadan and not fasting the month of Ramadan, can I earn Allah's pleasure doing both things? No, both opinions are not equally valid. And the Creator defines the creation, and He defines the value system of that creation to earn points and to not earn points. Similarly, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى, as the professor dictates what you must do over the course of the academic semester to earn a good grade or to not earn a good grade. You cannot look at the syllabus and say, yeah, calculus is important, but I'm not going to sit in the exams, and I believe calculus is important, and as a result I will get an A in the class. No, you have to show up and do the tests and do what earns you a good grade. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى, and to Allah, Allah is removed from all comparisons. The comparison with Allah is unmatched. We must do what He says. Morality is defined by the Creator, just as anyone who has made anything in this world defines what must be done to maintain that thing. We've said it before, the one who manufactures the car designs and knows exactly what must be done to maintain that car. And the one who made the human being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has defined the morality and the value system that must be in place to uphold a properly functioning civilization. And so I conclude with the question again, what is intelligence? I hope I've shed some light upon this question. I've not done it justice, but let us realize that intelligence is more than just facts and knowledge. It has to do with understanding emotions, and that must be governed. All of that must fall under the umbrella of morality, and that morality is defined by the creator of man and woman and all species. That is defined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so as we seek knowledge in our classes, and as we seek professional development, do not neglect my and your responsibility to seek knowledge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to know how to communicate and to operate and to grow spiritually and intellectually and morally and emotionally as a family. And as we know, there will be a workshop in this masjid coming up soon on building the prophetic family, and there will be registration after today's Jummah as well as online. I encourage myself and you to register for this incredible opportunity. I wanted to take 1 or 2 more moments to talk about the blessed month of Muharram. As you and I know, this is also a time in the calendar year where we are going to the new Hijri calendar year. And Muharram was a blessed month that the Rasul ﷺ used to fast the 10th of Muharram as an obligatory fast before the Faridah of Ramadan. He used to fast the 10th of Muharram before Ramadan was fard. This Sawm was fard for him and the companions. And then after Ramadan became fard, this became Sunnah Mu'akkada, became a very emphasized Sunnah. Whoever wants to fast it can fast it. There is no sin for not fasting it. But how did the Rasul respond to that reduction from obligation to a meritorious action? He still fasted it all the time. And he said that the best Sawm outside of Ramadan is the Sawm of Muharram. And he also said that it will expiate for the sins of the year before. And he also said, if I will live to next year, alayhi salatu wasalam, I will also fast the 9th. And so it is highly recommended for us to fast this day, the 10th of Muharram, which is coming in about a week's time, a little more than a week's time. And it is recommended at least fast the 10th. Better yet, fast the 9th and 10th. And better yet, fast the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
In addition to the du'as that we've requested at the beginning of the khutbah, please keep your brothers and sisters in Kashmir, in China, in every part of the world, the countries that we named and the countries that we have not named in your du'a. Allah, you are most knowledgeable of those who are suffering. Please ease the suffering of those in the east and west, those who are with us and those who are not with us. استووا اعتدلوا تراسوا وسدوا الفرج ثابكم الله. Please listen to those who are instructing us on how to get ready for salah. Please listen to those who are telling us to come into the musalla. Please be straight in your hearts and straight in your lines. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. اللهم صل. صليت. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Couple quick announcements. As it was mentioned in the khutbah, on September 21st and 22nd, there is going to be a conference in Al-Hidaya Center. It is Building the Prophetic Family. That's the theme of the conference. We have great speakers coming in. We have Sheikh Arsalan coming back to this community. We have Imam Dawood Walid. We have Sister Dunya Shuaib. And most of the local imams. They are going to give speeches about how we can build and sustain a prophetic family. There are registration desks outside. Please register. Please register ahead of time and not in the last minute so that we can actually know exactly how many people are going to attend. then we can actually provide the logistics accordingly. The second is we are starting a new 2-year program for our youth. This is separate from our weekend school. It is separate from the youth program. This is a 2-year academic program for kids who are 14 and older, who are serious about seeking ilm. Now, this program is going to be only on Friday evenings. There is also registration desks out there for registering to this program. So if you have a kid and they are interested in learning ilm and you want them to go through this path, this is a 2-year program every Friday, but you have to register. So that's out there. Please register for that as well. And those are the only announcements we have. Okay. And there is not going to be any change in salah times. Assalamu alaikum.